Okay, we're live.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
It's our first time.
Welcome to our first live
Yeah.
for RPU.
Yeah. Rental Property University. Let's get this up a little bit. Oh, sorry.
You're good?
Okay.
Bear with us.
Okay. Well,
what?
I'm Heather.
I'm Ian. Hi, we're Mile 27 Realty.
Yeah.
This is Heather Anderson. I'm Ian Starr, and welcome to our inaugural live on YouTube.
Yeah.
We're here to talk to you about some issues that come up in real estate. I'd say every once in a while.
Yeah.
But it's those big things that you need to concern yourself with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ian calls it the real estate Oregon Trail.
And so that's what we're going to be, kind of going down this little trail all the way to Oregon. Actually, just got back from Oregon.
Yeah, you did.
I did.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they had trials and tribulations on their way from the I can't remember Fort Laramie,
like Tennessee.
No, wait.
They came from like Tennessee.
People came from everywhere on the East Coast,
Yeah.
and they wanted to make a name for themselves in the West. So they had to embark on a journey, be it treacherous or pleasant. Most likely,
the former.
The former, I would say.
Yeah.
And so like this is kind of what we're describing. Getting into real estate, if you're starting out from the very beginning, I'm talking 101 level. If you're looking to get into real estate, you're going to have trials, tribulations. You're going to be on this trail, on this destination, and the destination, of course, is financial security, financial independence. That we really, try to, I guess not advertise, but just open people's minds up to the possibility that they can also be a real estate owner, a portfolio.
Pioneer.
Yeah, there you go. Portfolio pioneer.
Oregon Trail language.
We're going to probably make up some words as we go along.
Why not?
Yeah, but no, maybe phrases. Short. So,
yeah,
might as well.
Yeah.
We're gonna tell you, what our Oregon Trail has been like.
Yeah, and we happen to be both like real estate licensed.
Right.
This is our actual career.
They need to know that.
Yeah. And,
we are both licensed
real
estate sales agents in the state of Texas, but this young lady is a what do they call it? A super broker, because of just how badass she is.
Wow, thank you.
No, you're welcome. But it's true.
Thank you.
Everybody needs to know how awesome Heather Anderson is at her job.
And same to you. Thank you. Yeah, we make a really great team because, well, first of all, we're friends, but honestly, we respect each other and we trust each other. And I think those are the two top traits that you need in any kind of partnership and teammate situation. We have fun, we laugh, we're goofy. But
so yeah, bear with us.
But we get it done. When it's time to go to work, we go to work. And
you gotta get it done.
We take our crap very seriously. We just tell people the truth. We have a high level of integrity. We both are long-term minded. So, but anyway, we're both real estate professionals. I've been at this. This is my 21st year in 2024. And this is Ian's.
This will be your 8th.
Yeah, this is your 8th.
Yeah.
March of 2016, and we're in
2024.
September 2024.
So yeah.
So is that 7.5?
Yeah.
7.5. So you're about to hit 8.
I'm about to hit 8
in 6 more months. Okay.
6 more months. I'll be 8 years in the real estate industry in Dallas, Texas.
Yep.
I'm originally from Austin. I moved here in 2010.
Yeah.
And I was actually a chef or a cook, and kind of worked my way into multiple, positions in moving my way up into cooking, and it just wasn't really panning out for me. So part of my my journey started off by meeting this young lady. Friends before I even knew she was a real estate agent.
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't even know what a real estate agent was really,
Mhm.
besides having some friends in high school that their parents were of that profession. Um, I didn't know much, but I knew that I had to change what I was doing, and I'm so glad I did.
Yeah.
Because I got into real estate, and I've been with Heather since the beginning.
Mhm.
I got my license and immediately started, hit the ground running.
Mhm.
I was working. Well, I mean, like I guess you could say three jobs because I was doing
Uber.
Uber and Lyft.
Yeah. Real estate.
I was doing real estate, and I was also doing some
Catering.
to try to pay the
Mhm.
bills.
And he did. And that went on definitely all of 2016 through 2017.
Mhm.
And I remember clearly the day when I said it's time.
Time
for you to leave Uber,
to leave everything
and catering, and it's
Thank
time.
goodness I did. It was
To
a really
scale.
good time to scale.
Yeah, because you needed to get the experience. You were basically kind of like an apprentice in a way,
Yes.
And
still feel like I'm always an apprentice, never a master.
Me too. I still feel like that because we're in the business of people, and you never learn it all.
I mean, you never do.
You never do.
And I like the way you put it when I first started. That it's okay. So like a lot of things are black and white.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of gray.
Yeah.
There's a lot of gray area, and so you're going to have to figure it out. What they teach you in real estate to get your real estate license is just kind of procedural. How to not get sued, how to make sure you're doing the integral and morally correct thing for your clients.
Mm-hmm.
They were very adamant about making sure that realtors stuck to their licensing, and they really made sure that you knew as a realtor you were going to be held to a higher standard. So yeah, I mean that's not. I'm not trying to say anything about anyone. Just we want to give you kind of the background on us. So that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, and so and we have gone on to work. I think you just finished your 100th deal. Maybe
I'm thinking it might be over 100. Yeah, my 100th was this year. Last year.
I started going back to grabbing all of our anniversaries, making this anniversary spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
And I went down the long rabbit hole of I was like, well, just go back to the last 5 years. And then I was like, well, let me just grab 2 more. And then I'm like, well, let me just go 10.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, just grab 15. And then I was like, let me just get them all. Let me just take all 20 years. And that's the thing, our file, 20 years of data record keeping has been different, now we're organized and we have everything on the Google Drive and we're sorted and things are labeled. But I mean, 20 years ago, it's written on a scrap paper,
Napkin.
It's only in my memory, really.
Yeah.
And then I started storing everything on this external orange terabyte drive in 2009, from 9 to 14.
Yeah.
And then from 14, but then about in 2011, I started using Google Drive. So I have some there and some on this orange drive. And anyway, but 2014 and on was when we started putting everything in the Google Drive.
Yeah.
But I had to go. But anyway, when I was doing that anniversary spreadsheet, just grabbing all of our old clients, that's when I was trying to count all your deals and stuff. But anyway, over 100 deals, pretty cool.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
So I got some experience.
Yeah, I would say so.
I've got a few houses under my belt.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you know your stats?
I think I'm over 1,400.
1,400?
Mm-hmm. Because one year I did 123 in 1 year when I was working for the hedge fund.
Oh, you were just scooping them up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I would sell 50 a year on average for a few years.
I guess tell them about your background.
Okay, so I got in real estate in 2003, October of 2003. So it's 2024. So that'll be
years.
21 years in October,
Mhm.
right? Okay. And then I started as an assistant for new home construction, and then worked my way up, and then became a partner in my first brokerage in 2008. Took over running operations in 2009 with no training. And then in 2013, already met Jay, but Jay and I built the second brokerage. Oh, you have a friend. Oh, this is Rocky. And then, basically we built an employee model where we paid the real estate agent's salary when we're normally paid commission. That's pretty much like the industry standard, but I wanted to build a better way. We were very wrong and almost went out of business several times, but the key is you just don't give up and you have to pivot. And pivot means you change drastically.
If necessary.
If necessary.
If necessary.
If you're on the GPS and GPS like go straight, but you see you're about to drive off the cliff,
You're going to take a turn.
if you don't turn, you're going to die.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much pivot. And you changed like 15 times, and you were part of a lot of those pivots. And one thing I always admired about Ian was he was always just like, sounds good. You were so laid back, Ian. You taught me so much about that. But I just want to tell you thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if I can, rub off on people,
Mhm.
I think I have a pretty good life. So, if everybody were like me, it wouldn't be such a bad world.
True. Everybody would be really happy and nice to each other and just chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
So then we pivoted 15 times, and then we finally decided you and I are just going to be a team. So I had multiple real estate agents, and as a broker, because I went and got my broker license in 2011, and I thought I was going to build this big brokerage, but I was never really that good at it. I just wasn't a manager.
Yeah.
I'm still not.
Yeah.
And but I didn't know that about myself. I had to learn.
Well, I mean, that's the whole process of getting older, right? It's like
Yeah.
learning what you're capable of.
Yeah.
So you just took the time to, kind of like by trial and error, because you really didn't have anybody teaching you how to do anything.
Right.
You were just, throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what stuck.
Yep. Yeah, and I heard recently, this makes a lot of sense to me, but if you're running business, you work for the people 8 to 5, and then you work for yourself 5 to whenever. And it goes back to the whole working in the business and on the business, because when you're growing the business, you have to work in the business to make the revenue and do all the day-to-day operations and answer questions and figure it out. But then you have to build the business. So when are you going to do that? You're either doing it nights or weekends.
Yeah. That's tough. I mean, that's trying to figure out a schedule when you are a business owner.
Yeah.
It's got to be
Yeah.
a little bit tough, if not really tough.
Yeah.
So I guess it's what you make of it.
Yeah.
You're all right there, Cypress?
Okay, Cypress. Yeah, but it's kind of like when you run these operational businesses. Those, again, some people are really good at operations. I never was.
Mhm.
I got better at it. Do you think?
Oh yeah.
Over time.
Yeah.
I read more books and tried
you
more
know,
things.
It's being an entrepreneur. You're always you can read all the books you want, but until you have it in practice or applicable to whatever whatever it is you're doing, you're gonna have to you can read, but if your situation's not exactly, you gotta interpret it. You gotta translate it into your situation. So I think you've been doing that very well for being just finance major and just starting your own business, making your own way.
Yeah.
Already, what is it? You bought and sold a company.
Yeah.
Or not bought and sold. You started and sold a property management company.
Yeah.
Because that just wasn't for you.
Right. Yeah, I hated it.
Hate's a strong word.
Okay, I
disliked it.
I was stressed out every day.
Okay, so you
living
hated
in writing anxiety.
You hated it.
It wasn't a fit.
It wasn't a fit.
But the thing is, it's a fit for someone.
And you sold it to them.
And I sold it to them. They loved it.
So
I think that's important to know what you're good at, what you like.
So that's a little bit about us.
Yeah.
We
are in the real estate business, but we're also real estate investors.
Yeah.
And Ian comes from a family line. His mother-in-law is a long-term rental property investor. starting in around 1999. Also, his parents have one as well. I started rental property investing in 2006, which was my first property that I knew would be a move up. Loosely, we didn't know what a move up. I didn't have that term for it. I just knew I was going to buy a condo, and then I knew I would turn it around. Very rough, very loose, very no real plan. I just somehow in my gut knew that.
Yeah.
Because it clicked for me along the way in 04, 5, and 6.
Okay.
That I needed to put my money in real estate. I just knew. I knew it. And I knew that it couldn't be.
What do you think was a catalyst for you to put my money in? Like, what made you think of that thought?
I thought because at the time I wasn't very good at saving money, and I was a bigger spender, and I came from a very humble and middle, probably below middle class, I would say, lifestyle, and we didn't learn how to save and invest or anything like that. We were always living beyond our means, really. And I remember one time my parents were in like tens of thousands of credit card debt. This was back in the 80s or the 90s, so whatever the equivalent of that is today. But but I knew I was making big money because I would sell houses and maybe my paycheck would be $50,000. I know. And then when you don't come from money, first of all, you think that's never going to end. And you truly do. You think making money is really, really easy. And the well's never going to run dry.
Yeah.
And you truly think that. And I would pay
until it does.
Until it does. And
Yeah.
I would say for most people it does.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big takeaway I had from that. Years later, obviously. But intuitively I knew that if I spent all this money and I don't have anything to show for it, I was going to be very upset with myself. And I wasn't going down that road, but I kind of knew I needed to store it away where I couldn't touch it.
You needed to squirrel it away.
Exactly. And I knew if I put it in the bank, that would be risky, or even the stock market, that would be risky. Mm-hmm. So I thought, if I put it in real estate, I can't necessarily get it quickly.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'll just put it away, and then in 20 years, I can get it. And that's how I did it.
Forced savings account.
Exactly. It was a forced savings account for me. Yeah. And even when I started saving money, I had to get a bank account, not in a brick and mortar bank like Wells Fargo. I had to get the online ones.
So you couldn't go to the bank?
I couldn't get it. Or it takes usually at that point it was 3 days to get your money, 3 business days. And I would have to get it away from me until I built a muscle to
correct your habits.
Yeah, I had to learn
spending and saving.
Yeah, I had to learn the muscle of not having it burn a hole in my pocket because I came from a culture where money burns a hole in your pocket.
You gotta spend it.
Exactly, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted something to show for this hard work and this big money.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's how I started buying property, and then I went on to buy 10 properties in 11 years, basically. And then through that, taught me, just how to build processes and systems for other investors. Because I had been my very first client I ever had was an investor, rental property investor.
Okay.
And
your very, very first.
Out of the. Well, technically, my dad went to go buy rental property. Which is how I got the job with the new home salesperson.
Okay.
Because I went with him after his chemo radiation treatments, and she didn't have an assistant, and then she hired me right on the spot. And I started the next day.
Wow.
But he went to buy those rental property but my mom got pissed basically and made him cancel. So this was a few months after he bought them, but they lost the earnest money, $4,000, which she still holds over. Well, he just died. May he rest in peace. But until he died, she still kind of held that over him. But I know that's the lesson in that too. Don't I'm not going to tout advice, but you're going to win some and you're going to lose some. That's the whole thing about getting ahead. What does lose money mean anyway? I mean, how much money do we waste on nonsense? How does that not fall in the lose money category?
That's probably a pretty good segue into what one of our topics is.
Yeah.
Which is, being safe with your money, being careful with your money.
Yeah.
So one of the big, I guess, I mean, you'll see on every single email like that comes from a title company, from maybe from a lender
Yeah.
about wiring money, and what you have to do to be careful about wire fraud.
Topic intro.
Topic intro. Wire fraud is evil.
Yeah.
Yeah. So about, well, I say, was it 2018? We were looking to buy a house.
Mhm.
I've been a real estate agent for about 2 years now.
Okay.
And we're looking to buy a property that we're going to move into, turn our house into a rental. We were staying in one of my mother-in-law's houses that she purchased, I think, in 2006.
Okay.
A nice little 3-2, I think just under 1,300 square feet. And so we were wanting to obviously buy a little bit bigger house, and we were looking at areas that were affordable to us. Going through the whole entire process, and my wife was, she was on the loan, and since I was working, she had the computer. Well, she had a lot of the information on her computer, so she was doing a lot of the transaction, like coordination with the title company for documentation.
Yeah.
And we're getting through the process. It's a new build, so there's really not much to it. And so she was getting emails from title, and one of the title company, like we were getting close to the end, and getting close to the closing table and the date of closing. So she got an email. It's like, hey, would you like to wire the funds? And the email was, the signature at least, and like what it showed up was exactly as it should be. But there's little things you can do to kind of make sure that the person you're sending the money to, or that email is correct, because it looked exactly like you would see any other email come from them, except for one thing that was different. The phone number had one digit wrong. And we got lucky because my wife sent the money, and
she didn't realize the phone number digit.
She didn't realize any of it. She sent it.
Yeah, she thought it was a legit.
She thought it was legit.
Email from title company.
Email from title company
with the wire instructions.
With the wire
For you
instructions.
to send your down payment.
So we could send her, yes, exactly. So we could send her down payment to the title, so they can hold it in escrow.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden we get there's a red flag from Wells Fargo.
Okay.
Say, they called us and say, hey, this we were getting some type of issue with this account, and we see that you're sending money to it. And it's like, yeah, that's the title company. And then so immediately we called the title company to try to confirm numbers, and they said they never sent her an email. We still don't know how if it was the title company or if it was her email. Somehow they had all the information, our information, as far as like your contact information.
Like your phone number?
Phone numbers, email addresses.
Okay. Property address?
I don't recall if it was a property address, but yeah, luckily Wells Fargo got it, but it actually went even further because when we got in touch with Wells Fargo said they couldn't do anything for us, and because we sent the wire,
So they called you.
They called us because the transaction had been flagged.
Yeah.
So we didn't know any issue was there. Like it would have been over with if Wells Fargo hadn't have caught the wire that we were sending to account at their bank, because that was coming from our USAA, and we also were going to be sending money from our Amex savings.
Wow.
So yeah, they caught it. Like, well, we see that you're sending money. It's like this. We're having red flags on this account. So we're just want to confirm. It's like, so we call the title company, and I call the title company. It's like, hey, we got fished. What do we need to do? And so I started talking to Selena Underwood at Republic Title on Turtle Creek, and she kind of helped us talk it out so we would kind of stop freaking out, because over multiple phone calls and Selena talking to helping us out. She didn't have to, but she did. Um, and we also, our Amex, we just immediately stopped because we had sent both wires.
Okay.
We had stopped the Amex wire once we got a phone call from Wells Fargo. Like, oh gosh, is that going to be another issue?
What'd you do? Call Amex?
We called Amex and told them stop the because apparently theirs takes a little bit more time than that she started with USAA, so it had already gone through.
Amex has a savings account. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Amex Savings Bank.
Okay.
Yeah, and they do really good. They've got really good yields.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we had then spent that day on the phone with as many people as we could talk to.
Like who?
So we talked to the I want to say the FCC.
Oh wow.
We reached out to the FCC, the FBI.
Wow.
About wire fraud.
Wow.
We had to fill out forms and kind of like we actually got in touch with the bank that they sent it to. It was actually in Texas. It was off of Web Chapel. Well, not Web Chapel. What's that? Gosh, it's right next to me. Off Westmoreland. And yeah, they caught it. They said, hey, this is an issue. So we confirmed the numbers with title. The title said those are not our numbers. So that I don't know what that account is. I don't know how you got that number. So we got an email that looked exactly like one from Republic Title. And then when you click on the name, it would say Republic Title. When you click it, though, it had that weird extra numbers or extra letters on the email. And then I started looking closer, and I was like looking at the address. Address was correct. Everything about the email signature was all exactly correct, except for the last number. Instead of like an 8, it was a 9.
And did they probably make a mistake on that phone number?
I don't know. Maybe they did it on purpose. Maybe they but I noticed it was it was just slightly off. And I was like, oh, did you call the title company? Because I always tell every client, even back then, it's like you're cutting materials. You're going to measure twice, cut once. So I always say, call them 3 times.
Wow.
Call them 3 times just to confirm the numbers. If they send you a text or they send you an email, then just call. Don't call the number on the email signature.
Look it up on Google.
Look it up on Google.
Okay.
Call the number on Google and say, I'd like to talk to whoever sent you the email. It's like, hey, I'm confirming that you got this email, or I'm confirming that you sent me this email and you want to confirm the numbers.
What are the numbers? The wiring.
The wiring instructions.
So the routing number, the account number of the title company you're wiring to.
Well, they're going to send you the information, right? It's going to be that routing number. Sometimes it's a wiring routing number.
Yeah.
Sometimes the routing number can be different than than when you send a wire.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're gonna it's pretty much just that.
Okay.
You're gonna amount, the account number, right? The amount you're wiring, where you're wiring it to, from your account, right, to their account, their routing wire or routing number.
Okay.
And then you're hoping for the best.
Wow.
Because it's always it's scary sending $50,000 through the internet.
Yeah.
For anybody, that's a lot.
A lot of money.
A lot of money for most people.
So
a lot of money.
So what was that amount? What
I think it was from our USAA. It was like I think around 50,000.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry. I want to say it was like around 42 because we had some other money coming from the Amex.
Okay, around 42,000. And the other thing I think was interesting was the time, like the day and the time. It was Friday at like 4, right?
Friday end of business.
Yeah, it was a Friday end of business, and we heard from the Selena or the FBI. I think it was Selena. Said that it's common that the fraud people will do it Friday end of business because like they want to get it at that Friday cutoff time, but then Saturday and Sunday go by and you can't do anything about it because the next business day is until Monday. And then even furthermore, they'll do it on holiday weekends if they can,
Mhm.
then they have 3 days. I don't fully understand that. I just know she told me that.
Well, I'm sure it's, like there's nobody to talk to. There's no customer service, maybe.
Yeah.
Like normal business hours are through the week, 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So, the more time they have to cover their tracks or to get away,
Yeah.
I'm sure they're going to use it.
Yeah, maybe they go.
But that was
maybe it goes to the bank and then they just physically withdraw it or
Could be.
something on a Saturday.
because if it gets there before the wire cut off, that money is in there.
Uh-huh.
It's there.
So what
you
did
can immediately take your money out if you go to a bank. If you can transfer it to a different bank account immediately.
So what did the FBI do?
Nothing.
Oh,
I just
filed the case.
I filed a case.
Oh, okay.
So with the FCC, and then the FCC,
Okay.
I think they have like a little link, and it's linked to the FBI, and you fill out their form about what happened, how it happened, how much it was.
Wow.
What's the other account number, and I never got a phone call.
How did you get it back?
Well, luckily enough that Wells Fargo caught it, right? So they caught it. They put a freeze on it. And the issue that they were running into is that they had to have, like we told them, like that money is not supposed to go to them.
Okay.
That is it's fraud. It's like, well, you sent it. It's like, well, no, but they sent it under. It was. I had to talk to their fraud department multiple times, and they're like, well, we're working on it. We're working on, and that's the Wells Fargo fraud department and our USAA fraud department. Because USAA was like, well, we can't get it back. You're gonna have to talk to Wells Fargo.
Wow, because USA sent it. So
USA
like,
said
we're out.
We're out.
Okay.
They couldn't help us. They were very sorry.
Yeah, they said we sent it to the account you told us to send it to. Okay.
So we did exactly what you required of us.
So we're out. Wells Fargo's like, we know you sent it to the account you told us to send to, but we think there's fraud. But we still have a process.
We still have a process that we need to kind of complete before the wire can go into that account.
Wow.
And so maybe this had happened previously, and there was some type of flag on that account number. But it turns out, and I talked to a lady in the fraud department at Wells Fargo, and she's, sometimes those people that could show up, because we looked up the account number, we looked up the name of the person. Like I was able to find that out just by, somehow. I don't recall how I did it, but above board, it was legal, completely legal. But yeah, it's like, I want to show up to this person's house, and just like, what are you doing? And then the lady, not corrected me, but she just let me know that sometimes the person that they're being, their identity is being used. So this might not even be the person that did it.
Wow.
It makes it even, even just
nastier.
Even nastier.
Yeah.
You're just like, you got nobody. There's no recourse. You're in the hands of the banks that have certain policies where they can't reverse, or you have to get the person that you're sending the money to reverse the wire. But we had gone through their multi levels of management to just talk to somebody a little bit higher. I need to talk to somebody just a little bit higher. Can I speak with your manager? Can I speak with your supervisor? And I just got to a person where they're just like, okay, we're going to get this taken care of for you. We're going to reverse the charge or reverse the wire.
Wow.
And because it was caught, right? So we just have to get, consent from certain people in our management or in our, executive staff.
Okay.
But this was, 5 years ago.
Okay, so and I remember it was still going on until that Saturday.
Well, okay, so it was going on till Sunday or Monday. Because we had to spend the weekend waiting for them to see what they could do.
Wow.
And we spent Friday talking to people, and then I spent the next day, filling out the proper information, going down rabbit holes. I went down so many rabbit holes, so many Google searches on like, what can we do?
Was it so stressful?
It was incredibly stressful.
Like,
when
was
you work,
top 5 stressful moments or times?
Oh, I'd say it's like almost top 3. just the the fact that how hard you work, especially when with the money that you're able to make in life, being a cook. there's not, I had to save a lot of money, and like my wife saved a lot of money, and we to get to a point where we could purchase a home. It took us a long time, and I would have never even thought about it if I wasn't in real estate. Because like my parents, they had one rental, they sold it, and when I was let's say 15,
Okay.
and we just had one house that we just started, remodeling.
Yeah.
From when I was 9 till I was like 20 something.
Mhm.
And yeah, to work that hard and have somebody just with a push of a button, you push send, and your life changes in an instant. And that's why I think you see that wire fraud
Wow.
so like prevalent
Yeah.
everywhere on all emails that have to do with if I have a title company that they send any email, it's got something about title or something about wire fraud.
Yeah.
A lot of lenders.
It's on the bottom of their
It's on the bottom.
signatures.
Look at
everywhere.
Read them. Read the email signatures. Read the warnings. Because it's true. It can happen to even a real estate professional.
Yeah.
But I've been in it for 2 years. I'm not saying I was.
But you were more savvy than anyone. Not anyone, but most people, because you were.
I felt like I had a few. I had done well the second year.
Yeah, I think that's why it's even more of an interesting story, because it just goes to show like no one's exempt. I mean,
no one's exempt.
It's such a sophisticated business.
Well,
it's crime.
Not just sophisticated. How sophisticated these crimes can become. Their whole job. My job is to help somebody find a house that isn't falling apart.
Yeah.
Right. Their job.
Unless they want that.
Well, I doubt it.
Most people don't. Investors. Right?
Well, investor, but they want a house that's not falling apart.
Yeah.
They want something that they can fix.
Yeah.
Because the more money you lose in that house, the worse you're off. But
okay, their job.
Well,
these crimes.
Their job is to figure out how to get money from you.
From the internet using fraudulent emails, which means they hacked into your somehow hacked.
Somebody got hacked.
Somebody got hacked and
my wife
figured
got hacked,
out,
or
public title got hacked, or you got hacked
because I was in the email, but nobody knows.
Nobody knows, and we can't figure it out.
And the only way to stop wire fraud, call and confirm.
Yeah.
Call and confirm again.
Yeah.
Call and confirm again if you need to.
Or you could just go old fashioned and bring your cashier's check.
Go to the bank, an hour early, 30 minutes early.
Yeah.
Give yourself some time to make it to the bank right before you go to the closing table.
Yeah. And then just get the cashier's check.
Or you can, do it the old fashioned way. Bring a chest full of gold.
Could you really?
I think you could.
I don't think so.
I bet if I showed up with a chest full of gold doubloons and say, "Hey, I want to buy,"
how would they know how to value it?
It's gold doubloons.
I don't know.
Doubloon. It's like an old Spanish coin.
Oh.
Like an old Spanish coin. You trade. What is it? Shipwreck.
People would not know how to value that.
I would figure it out. I would figure out a way to buy a house with pirate treasure.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, it's kind of funny that like the internet makes everything so easy, and I don't mean to do it in air quotes because it does. It makes it easy.
It does make it easy, but
there is risk.
It makes getting over on people that much easier.
Exactly, and because they're getting way more sophisticated, I'm sure you've seen the videos now with AI where it's like somebody could take this video and like put a third person right here, and it looks very real.
Yeah.
I mean, you
have to really look. I mean,
sometimes like I've like a podcast. Like if I've seen a lot of these podcasts, like Joe Rogan, I've seen a lot of them. Mm-hmm. But then this one person that he has on, I'm like, that just doesn't fit. I know in my mind, like I'm like something's off. But it's not much off.
But it's off.
Like,
oh yeah, you can tell.
You might have to watch it 2 or 3 times,
or with like how their mouth moves, how their eyes move. You can always AI is not there yet,
but it is.
But I'm sure somebody's already trying to figure out how to make ChatGPT commit wire fraud.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. But we just like to talk about this because sometimes you have these fear mongering type diatribes,
Which I'm not trying to be.
which we're not trying to do, but you need to be aware and you need to protect yourself because it's legit.
And that's why I
It
tell you
actually
our
happens.
story. It happens
Yeah.
even to a realtor.
Mhm.
Regardless of it
Mhm.
being a person in your family or just being that realtor yourself, there's so many times that you can be distracted,
Yeah.
just with life going on.
Right.
And so it's one of those things in real estate that it is something to be aware of.
We even had a closing last week, Ian, remember? And then the husband and the wife were like, the wife was like, "Did you check?" Or the husband was like, "Did you check to make sure you wrote down the right account number to give title company?" Because they were just going to write it down and hand it to them at closing. And she was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And he's like, "Let's just double check, right? Let's double check to make sure we got it right. It's kind of a big deal, right?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "Okay, fine." And then sure enough, they had the wiring, the incoming wire routing number incorrect. Which in that case, it honestly probably would have worked out. But what you don't want to mess up is the account number.
Was it the
She used the normal ABA routing number,
except for it would seem like how they have to have the wiring.
but you need
Routing.
the wiring routing number. Yeah, but still, my point is, that happens a lot. Like sometimes, it's just really important. This is like and the reason why it's so important is because you're dealing with big money, right? And that example was like $360,000.
And
Isn't that's worth a second?
it's worth a second
Double check,
look.
a third check, and
It's hard enough to try to buy a house.
$42,000 is a lot of money, and we're talking tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's why these criminals are targeting this, because they're not trying to go rip off,
It's a big payoff.
right, a computer anymore. Yeah, they're going to make they could make hundreds of thousands of dollars. I read about a couple from California one time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think you read about that, and they lost $650,000. They lost it. So you got yours back,
and and they said that's most likely an outlier.
Wow.
Most people don't get their money back.
That's so bad.
Especially once you send it off.
That is evil.
Because most people don't flag those things.
And you never found out who did it. There was no justice, except the fact you got your money back. But they probably, who knows how much fraud they've done, who knows how much they've done since then.
I'm pretty sure it's probably not their first.
Yeah,
you probably weren't their first mark.
Right.
So
yeah, it's a faceless crime a lot of times, and like you said, that you mentioned that lady that was like maybe involved but probably didn't know it.
Yeah. She, they said, well, that's what the lady at Wells Fargo. She said that could be that this isn't even the person that stole the money from you.
Yeah.
They could just be their identity being used.
And I've read another story one time that they'll like the person, the middle person. Let's say they're using this person like Deb, okay, or let's call her Jennifer. Jennifer gets hired by fraudulent company, okay, to set up fraudulent companies' bank accounts and organize wire transfers and be the admin for this fraud company. Okay.
Yeah.
And Jennifer thinks she's working for a legitimate company and has no idea.
Yeah.
And then she's initiating and collecting the wire from fraud company, but her name's maybe on bank paperwork and things like that. And she probably knows, but not really. Well, there's too many hypotheticals in that.
Yeah, just go with face value. It's like she's doing a
job. Let's
job.
say she doesn't know.
She doesn't know. She's not in the know.
Yeah.
That she's doing something that is.
But there's probably red flags if you have some savviness of like if you're setting up a bank account as Jennifer's name for the company.
That might be an issue.
Right.
Yeah.
But sometimes they'll pay you. They'll be like, "Well, we need you to do this," and then they'll come up with some reason like, "We have too many bank accounts," or we're not foreign, we're not citizens of the United States, for example.
We just need to set this up in your name,
and we'll pay you, handsomely. And I think people intuitively know, but maybe they're willing to think it's not that big of a deal, and they don't realize what's happening.
Well,
but
that's how most small crimes are, petty crimes.
Yeah, but then you're right, and then this petty crime
turns into a
$500,000
big old sack.
So a dookie. Yeah, it's a good way to say it.
I mean, it's you feel helpless. You feel angry, like that. It's just like, I mean, you can't equate it to something like, somebody stepped on your shoe. It's like somebody stole your car,
Yeah.
or somebody killed your dog.
They took your livelihood.
They took something that is so important
potentially
to
your future. I mean, I don't mean to get so dramatic because
Just
eventually
true,
you'll
though.
make your
No.
money back, but
what if that is
that's
all,
devastating.
what if that's somebody's retirement?
That's devastating.
Or that's,
it could be. Yeah.
it definitely could be somebody out of somebody's 401k. They've spent their entire life, and
Yeah.
now they want to buy this house to retire in. I've been living in apartments my entire life, and then all of a sudden, your money is gone, and some random person somewhere in the world has taken your money, and they're just laughing with a cigar in their mouth on a beach somewhere, and you're just hating life. That's how I illustrate it, because that's how I thought about it.
Yeah.
They were laughing with a daiquiri in their hand, like, I took those people's money. And I was just like, if they get away with that, I'm gonna John Wick somebody.
And they technically did, but you got your money back.
We did get our money back. Well, luckily it was flagged, so it was frozen.
Yeah.
It was frozen between our account, USAA, and that lady's account in Wells Fargo. And I was just, I wasn't a betting man, but if I was a betting man, I would have been like, no, you're not going to get that money back.
Did you think you kind of weren't?
Yeah, they pretty much. I mean, like they set the stage to where it's like,
wow.
More often than not, we can't get the money back.
Well, then why did you not accept that? Why did you keep going?
Oh, because I don't. Well, because they didn't say it was. There's nothing we could do.
It didn't say 0%.
There's no. If it was 0%, maybe there would have been a different story.
Okay.
But because they said, well, give us. Let's talk to some people.
Okay.
Because it hadn't hit their bank account. Because it was flagged as Wells Fargo. Even though I know I've never banked with Wells Fargo. I don't feel like they're a company that I would want to do business with. I was very happy with that company when they caught my money and stopped it from going away, and they gave it back to me.
Yeah.
And that's a feeling of relief that I don't think I'd say top 3 of like one of the worst.
I mean, you legitimately got robbed. Yeah. That's what or hijacked.
Or what is it? No, I was going to say I'd say hijack.
Yeah. Which could have turned into a robbery, in a way, if they got it away.
Uh-huh.
So who called you with the good news, or did you just see it in your bank account show back up?
No, I for Monday morning, as soon as bank's open, what's going on? What's the deal? Am I going to see this money again? It's like, sir, we're still working on it. And then we got it, I think, back the next day.
Wow.
So it was like it was almost a week, I think.
Friday to Tuesday.
Something like that, or maybe Friday to Wednesday, something like midweek. We got it, and then that's the funny part is we didn't even buy that house. Yeah, we had sent our money in to the escrow, right? We get to the closing table, and then the seller, I guess the agent didn't tell the seller that because they're a foreign person, they were going to have to pay a tax.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah. The FERPTA tax.
The FERPTA.
Foreign person. Transfer. Something. Foreign international.
Foreign.
FIRPTA.
FERPTA. Well, okay. Basically, he was going to be taxed I think it was 25, or no, it was 15%.
Yeah.
Right? And
20.
Is it 20?
Yeah.
I thought it was 15.
Okay, maybe.
Well, maybe 20%.
Okay.
And then so they're like, well, the agent calls me. Hey, they didn't know that.
Wow.
I said, well, that's not my problem. We're here at the table. I'm ready to sign. We're ready to buy the house. And they say, well, they're not going to sign. So, well, they're in default. We want our earnest money back.
Yeah.
I would like our option money, our earnest money, and then I want my commission.
Yeah.
I'm at the closing table, and I'm the agent on this. So they settled with giving us back our earnest money, obviously. Give us back our option. They paid for our inspection.
Okay.
And they gave us, I think they gave me $1,000.
Okay.
Because and we were just out the house after we had that
wow.
whole fiasco with.
What a wild
It was a wild
Ride.
ride. And the funny thing is, it was actually on
Golly.
the same name street, but further down.
Okay.
Like I guess the street in my neighborhood is cut up into multiple
Uh-huh.
streets.
Yeah.
So there's like a Gallagher over here, Gallagher over there, Gallagher over there.
Yeah.
And it was another Gallagher house. And I'm so glad that, like, retrospect, everything happens for a reason.
I mean, no doubt.
I think it worked out for the
Wow.
better because, like, the house we have now, I think is a better. It was a better buy. It was a little bit more expensive, but the layout was perfect. Like, the area we love now, neighbors we haven't had better neighbors.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, like, I really, yeah, we it's a happy ending, but it goes back to, just you got to be super careful when dealing with large sums of
Do
money.
you remember the stress that you felt like? Is it embedded in you, or you can remember the weekend, like the tenseness? Of that weekend?
You can remember, like, the helplessness. Like,
Yeah.
it's that feeling. It's like, like you have a certain smell and you remember your childhood.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about fraud or you talk about the wiring, I mean, I can still remember
Yeah.
how just frustrated and how angry and how just, like, helpless I felt. Like,
Yeah.
like this is, how long it took me to save this money.
Yeah.
Like, it was just.
And another thing I thought of is, like,
still makes me sick to my stomach when I think about it.
I know.
Like,
It's,
really think about it.
It's evil from the pit of hell. Like, it's just evil, and that's why it's so imperative that people take it seriously, because it is a real threat.
Yeah.
And also the whole title robbery. How there's fraudulent companies that are changing title on the back end. I don't know a lot about it, but I do know that is another threat that is occurring, where they can change title, and so they can.
Change title how?
I don't know. I probably should have researched it, but I do know it is risky.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I mean, I know it's a real thing that they can steal the title, the ownership of title.
Wow.
From you.
That's wild.
Yeah, I know.
And maybe using
and there's some
shiesty lawyer.
There's some insurance I think you get for it, and also, like, on my LifeLock,
Mm-hmm.
it has that section
Prevention
on there. Yeah, or where you can log your titles, and then it can keep watch to make sure it doesn't
transfer.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
But I knew about it from that, but I also read about it in, like, the Realtor magazine.
Okay.
I'm not very versed on it. It's probably something we should learn, because
Okay.
I think again, this is a big business, because you can make you steal a lot of money. If you steal a title of a house, right? That house could have 100, 200,
and you can
300,
sell
500,000
while that
equity.
person doesn't even know you're
Exactly.
like in the house.
So that's a legit thing that is happening.
Oh,
I don't have any
That's scary.
personal stories of that. I've read some, but I don't know any of those people. But I do have direct stories of wire fraud, And we talked to Selena at the title company, and we were just like, how many times does this happen? And I think at the time it was like, she said, like, 2 to 3 times a month it's attempted. So I'm just such an advocate. I know you are too, where we really like to, like, express this is totally avoidable.
Yeah.
It just requires, like, a legit check and balance. And when in doubt, just bring the damn cashier's check. Just
if you have thoughts of if this could happen to me just because it's my kind of luck.
Yeah.
Maybe a cashier's check.
Yeah.
Well, that's
how we used to close everything. Wires were, like, so rare. I mean, 8 years ago, but I guess everything was technology, whatever. So
future
back in my day.
The future is now, Heather. Now it's going to be paid with holographic Bitcoin from your wristwatch.
Yeah, or your pirate's booty, I guess, whatever that stuff is. That gold stuff you're talking about.
Gold doubloon. Or a cougarin.
I don't know what that is.
It's also like a gold disc.
Oh.
Yeah. Not really.
But okay, so that's amazing. I remember that. I just remember feeling so just gut-wrenching.
I'm still, like, I still have, like, that. You can feel that feeling, like that sick feeling.
Yeah.
You get, like, you feel all of a sudden pale like that. You're like, your breath is gone, and you're just like, oh gosh,
And
prepare for the ride.
and the email looked like any fake email, phishing email you've ever got. I mean, it's just, again, the spacing's off, like the coloring's off,
It's just like
if you get one from Amazon, it says something like call Jeff.
Yeah.
Like, hey, that doesn't make any sense. Amazon would never tell you
call Jeff. Call Uncle Bezos.
Exactly. Or they would just, things like that don't make sense.
No. I mean, but it's in the fast-paced life most people are living, right? Especially when you're buying a house, and if you're not using a realtor, that would be even more, confusing or just, fish out of water.
Yeah.
So we wanted to tell the story to bring around the point that, there's a reason why everybody's email signature is stating that wire fraud is a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, when in doubt, like you said, bring your cashier's check. But if you're going to wire the money, just know that, there's wire cutoff times. Wires don't get sent over the weekend.
We just had another, holidays. Yeah.
Holidays.
Remember, we just had that one with Robinhood.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, Robinhood. That's what we were going to talk about.
Yeah,
let's just move right into that.
Let's just, let me just check our live thing and make sure everything's looking good. I don't know how to, we've never done it before. Is everything okay? It says live. Okay, 55 minutes.
We're at 55 minutes?
Yeah.
Really? How about that?
Yeah.
We just spent 1 hour on one topic.
Well, we did a little backstory.
Oh, the intro.
Yeah.
But that's okay. We're still going.
Yeah.
We're still here.
I think so.
Rocky.
Let me just plug in real quick. Oh, well, they have it. What do you do?
Yeah. Why did you put your water on the floor? It's supposed to be in a cup.
Yeah, because you know how I am.
You should tell Rocky to get
How I
it.
am.
Hey, we're still on the clock here.
Oh my gosh. Why did I get up? To get my plug in. That's why.
You're plugging?
Mm-hmm.
What are you plugging in?
The computer.
Oh.
Okay.
Right. We're still here, people. You're still going to get some really good information. So
Okay.
just hold tight.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. I spilled my water and then here we are. Okay. So you were saying, so we had this deal that we closed a few weeks ago, a different deal than the one we were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy, we represented the seller. The buyer,
Home buyer, they had their funds. First time home buyer, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I'd say that's part of it, but I would say it was also on the lender. They had a large portion of their down payment in Robinhood. And if you're not familiar with Robinhood is a app-based,
like a custodial
custodial investment tool.
Yeah,
account.
It's the new version of Vanguard Fidelity.
I mean, it's
don't
like
you think?
like Webull, SoFi. I mean, they're just online financial trading institutions.
Okay.
Right, and you can trade crypto, you can trade commodities, you can trade like regular stocks,
funds.
But they make it more like user friendly.
Oh.
It's just like everything at the touch of your fingertips, app based. But they've had a lot of, because it's not your traditional bank.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they're FDIC insured.
Probably
not, because they're not like an actual banking institution.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like a pass through for buying stocks.
Okay.
And he had his money in there, and they were.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not.
He had his money in like 4 accounts.
4 accounts.
But the majority in Robinhood. Like $400,000 or something.
Just 422.
422,000, and then
422,000.
Like 38 in change. Like 60 in like Vanguard.
But what we're trying to say is like,
yeah.
So most institutions, when you wire money, it's immediate. It's like almost immediate.
Yeah.
That day, same day.
If it comes from like the big banks or
big banks,
the Vanguard.
So this gentleman didn't, he didn't figure out how to get your money out and how long it's going to take.
Mhm.
You know, stuff that we always ask our buyers. It's like, okay, if you're using where's the money coming from?
Mhm.
Oh, it's going to be coming from this account. We've never had to deal with this. We never had an issue with bank accounts and wiring information, but we found out that Robinhood can take up to what was it,
5 business days.
5 business days?
Yeah.
Up to, or I thought it was
Up to.
5 to 8.
Okay, maybe.
Um, like, even if it's 5, you have to potentially wait 5 days for your money to be sent from Robinhood to whatever institution that you wanted to. But and there was another one. They had a restriction on sending it to a third party. So where most banks, like, hey bank, I need you to pay for my house. I want you to send it to this account. This is the title company. No problem. They're going to say 100% of the time,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Robinhood didn't, he didn't check to see what their requirements or their terms and conditions or, whatever, how many days it's going to take to get your money.
Yeah.
It's almost, we always tell a client when they have a 401k or they're using some type of like retirement funds or any kind of funds, it's like, make sure you understand what their policy is. Make sure you understand how long it takes. If you need to start the process now, let's not wait.
Yeah.
Let's just get that money out. And so 2 days before we close, the buyer decided, I'm going to send, my wire to escrow. And day of closing, everybody's happy and happy-go-lucky. We're all signing documents, and then the title company says, we still don't have your wire in. But the lender has sent their money.
Yeah. And we've received your other 2 wires.
The Chase Bank, they received their wire. The other Fidelity, was it Fidelity? I think it was Fidelity, but Fidelity or Vanguard. One of those 2. But they sent the money. Everything's okay. Yeah. And then the day of 12 o'clock, he's signing and he's asking, "Hey, where's my money? Like you wouldn't check before, or just you kind of want to make sure everything. I'm going to buy this house. I want to make sure my money's here." Yeah. And then we find out that, it's going to take. It might take up to 5 days to get the money out. And this is, I think that was Wednesday. Or was that Thursday? Yeah. Thursday, we're supposed to close. Everything's going happy-go-lucky. Lenders like, we're golden. Everything's fine.
We closed at like 8:30 a.m. The buyers closed at like 11. This was about 4 o'clock. Everybody's like,
4 o'clock is
funded.
No, 4 o'clock is when we just got the first
notification
that there's an issue.
Yeah.
So we're like, I expect, we asked the title company, when are they signing? Okay, should we fund right after that? Sure, no problem. And then I get a lender calling me. Is it the lender? No, I called the lender. It's like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
Why is this? Where's the money? It's like, well, no. As far as we're concerned, we're done.
Yeah.
We're closed. Like, we've already sent our wire, and we're not in this anymore. So it's like, okay, well then who's at fault? Then it's the buyer. The buyer didn't double check, right? We didn't double check that he pulled a wire, or he requested a wire to be sent to the title company, but he didn't follow up on it, or maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But we get a call the day we're supposed to close, and it's 4:30. Hey, there's an issue with the wire.
Oh.
What? There's an issue with $422,000.
That's stressful. It was,
and it's a wire, so that perks your ears up for it being, oh gosh,
more wire fraud.
Could it be wire fraud? Could it be, what's going on? Money doesn't just sit in the cloud for a very long.
Yeah.
So we had to extend the closing to the next day, even though we didn't have an answer on if that's going to be.
No. And our clients were already driving across the country to the Northeast, where they were moving to. It was just very stressful.
Lots of moving parts.
Yeah.
A lot of unhappy people on both sides.
Yeah.
One was unhappy, like, where's my money? And it's like, the buyer's asking the same thing.
Yeah,
from
he's
Robinhood.
on the phone all day, and he's probably like very
We're-
stressed
if
because
I'm-
he's going
yeah.
into default because he's not performing. So then there's all the pressure of like the
Is he gonna get sued?
litigiousness.
Yeah.
Is the deal going to fall apart? There's like
Are we gonna get our
real concerns.
because we had the seller was even upset to the point where it's like, I'm just going to take that house. I want their money. I want their earnest money, and I want to resell it.
Yeah, they had like by this point the buyer had $8,000 earnest money, and then they had been they spent money on the inspection, the appraisal, the option. So that was probably at least another $2,000. So they were into this thing $10,000. And then
they wanted to make it work.
The buyer was very motivated, and they didn't have the money there. Our job was to peel back the layers of the onion, remove people's emotion, and help them see clearly, and help them and use our experience and our gut to say, is this deal going to close or not? Are we dealing with fraud? Not only wire fraud, but another concern could have been like sometimes this is like a fraudulent thing that a buyer could do where they've got some weird funky things working on the back end, and then they're keeping the seller on the hook in a fraudulent way. What's the motive? Why? I don't know. People are crazy, right? That's why.
People want to make money off of somebody else.
I mean, there could have been that thing where I've seen stories like that where the buyer kind of lingers and lingers and lingers and lingers, and you keep like changing the closing date. I've seen deals like that where
keep pushing,
but the buyer like is doing something weird on the back end,
but not enough to like make you get a red flag. Is that
or maybe,
or is it just like this? There's a lot of stuff adding up to where it's I don't like this.
Exactly. There's definitely red flags, but the seller is so motivated that they keep holding on because it's tricky because liars are really convincing. And if you don't have the right leadership, sometimes you can't see through that. I've been a part of deals like that on both sides. I've heard stories about deals like that. Well, they've been extending for 2 months, and it's like, okay, that's a huge red flag.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, it's complicated, and it just takes experience to sort through that. But
so give us a call if you need help figuring that out.
We can help you. But sometimes you can't explain it. How it's going to work out. You just know it's going to work out because you just calculate in your own little brain. Like, this is going to work out because
you don't want to think about the other side of it.
Well, you don't, but also it's like if they got half the money there, chances are.
So almost,
and that was just a logistical issue.
I think so.
It was.
And I don't think so. It was.
It was.
That was the case.
Yeah.
It just was like we're just it's sitting there. It's ready to be pushed out.
Yeah.
We're just holding on, and the buyer had to call Robinhood multiple times. He was asking for updates multiple times.
Yeah, like every hour.
He was trying to elevate it, and he was, I need you guys to get this moving. It's like, and I'm pretty sure all it has to do with Robinhood, manipulating people's sell and buys from years ago. That then there's a little bit more scrutiny on them, and they have to be watched a little bit more closely.
So what ended up happening was we got really lucky because we thought we were going to have to extend almost a whole week, and that was pretty rough negotiation. Well, it wasn't really that rough. It just was.
It was stressful in the sense that we were getting yelled at just for being associated with the transaction.
Yeah, but what happened is we got really, really lucky, and it was a Friday afternoon at like 4:30, and somehow Robinhood decided to change to make it an allotment on their policy, which was to not send the money to the title company. They did, and they did it quicker than the time. So they stepped up, in other words, but it was an incredible amount of stress, and we did not think that was going to happen. And so what we were going to do is renegotiate it for 1 week for $1,000.
Yeah.
Is where we were
just where we were. That's where you just got off the phone.
Yeah, with the buyer's agent about that.
And then I can't remember who said we got the money.
We got a call. You told me she texted you. The buyer's agent texted you, and then you either called me or texted me, and then we called the title company to confirm.
Yes, before we called
we called the client
and said, "Hey."
And we on the title company, we asked if she was sure like 5 times.
I would say the wild thing is like one of the sellers, very emotional about it, very upset about it.
Yeah.
Did not hide that fact. And
Yeah.
once, the gambit of emotional roller coasting went and passed, and the money came in,
Yeah.
everything's okay.
Right.
So, it just that's just to get you to understand that it will push like people to the edge, like that, those types of sums of money.
Yeah.
And
like driving across the country,
driving across the
bought
country,
two houses already,
full cars, full of
kids
like,
are there,
and they're
dogs
trying
are
to
there.
they're trying to drive across the country,
There's so much,
and they're losing, they're missing $500,000.
Yeah.
So
Stressful.
stressful. So this is the moral of this story is just when you are pulling money from a financial institution, completely understand their requirements for pulling it out.
Yep.
The time frame.
Yep.
And what it's going to look like for your transaction, because most people are going to be, and it's going to become more, I think, prevalent in having to move money around in certain different ways because of how many different financial institutions are coming out.
Yeah.
Of where money is stored, placed, whatever you want to say. So just be, be proactive. And if your agent isn't asking you the right questions, ask them the right questions. We're always up for a conversation. So, we'd be happy to hear whatever. We are. Let me. What do they call it? Preface that we are licensed in the state of Texas.
Yeah.
We know the laws, rules, regulations for the state of Texas. So it could be different in your state if you are not in Texas.
Yeah.
But we'd love to talk to other real estate agents, and if you had the similar stories, we'd love to hear about it.
Sure. We would. So this, I guess, has been the wire edition, money fraud / wire
this is the
edition.
The financial fraud.
Yeah.
Financial / fraud.
Yeah.
Financial fraud.
Financial fraud.
So fraud / financial live that we have decided our first one's going to be.
Right. So Ian and I work normal buyers and normal sellers, plus we work with rental property investors, which is what both him and I are, and what really our passion is, because we love using real estate as a tool to build wealth. And generationally wealth. We are products of this environment that we talk about and boast about and help others learn about. And we're also writing a book. It's called What Type of Rental Property Investor Am I? And where we take our rental property investing case studies and then we dig deep into them and share their portfolios. And we categorize it into 4 animals that Ian came up with. The fox, the lone wolf, the goldfish, and the elephant. And the personality types, and just helping you identify what kind of personality you are as a potential rental property investor or one that already is and wants to grow. And our whole objective is to help you execute, pick your pathway, and get forward. So we just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about that book. Ian, that's the first official time we've talked about the book.
I think so.
On any platform.
Well, the book is still, it's still coming.
It's still coming. We've been working on it almost 1 year because it's September. And I started writing in October of 2023. We just finished the 4th edit.
This is a culmination of 21 years, right? Of 8 years of real estate. And
it's exactly right.
And I think a little bit more sprinkled in there from other professionals that we've been lucky enough to work with.
Like our colleagues, and just we're really excited about it. And
super excited about it.
I think tell you guys about it on our first live.
You're going to love it. And you're definitely going to want a copy.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We're going big. Okay, well, I think this is where we'll say goodbye for today.
Thanks for joining us on our inaugural Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
This is Ian Starr.
And Heather Anderson.
And we are signing off.
Yeah, and Ian, let's see. Okay, we had no likes or comments, but that's okay.
Do we have any people come in?
No, but you got to start somewhere, right?
It's all right.
Hey, better than a stick.
Good job for the first one.
Yeah, I think so. Woo! Okay, doggies. Thanks for being good geese. And see you guys later.
See you next time.
This was helpful.
I'll see you next time.
Bye. Wow.
That was good.
Yeah.
I think we got to the point. I think we stayed on track a little bit.
Did too, huh?